some great insight there from Matthew Buhrmann. Wanted to give him a quick shout out again and thank him for coming on the show. A lot of things I never really would have picked up on from an outsider's perspective looking at the Red Hawks. I don't know about you guys, but it gave me a lot more to think about when I'm watching this team over the weekend.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I've always loved learning more about outside programs, especially those in the division. Like I told him off air, I'm the casual of the three of us here when it comes to hockey. I love watching ASU hockey, I love watching hockey in general, but when it comes to everything else around the program, around the conference, I'm the casual of the group. I'm not as plugged in, so I love learning more about ASU's opponents.
Well, we're gonna give a quick shout out here to one of the lesser covered sports. I don't think we've ever touched on this sport on our show, but wanted to shout out the men's and women's swimming programs, men's program especially, off to a 7-0 start to their season, coming off of a big win against VCU, 208-91. And this team, both the men's and women's teams, are getting ready for the Big 12 West Championship that will be hosted in Tempe at Mona Plummer Aquatic Center. And Austin, you and I were talking off air, both as former swimmers. Seeing swim and dive do really well, it scratches me right where I itch. And I went to my first swim meet ever last season, and walking into the aquatic complex after I'd competed there as an athlete many times, it felt like I was right back at home. And for my part, I'm going to make a big effort to try and get out to some of those championships over the 16th and the 17th.
Oh yeah, 100%. I remember when I was a student there, I went to go see the dual meet, the duel in the desert against Arizona at Mona Plummer. That was excellent. That was back with the Bob Bowman days when Michael Phelps was training with the team. So that was a pretty cool environment. I was there with 942 crew, so we got to go down on the pool deck afterward, meet a bunch of the swimmers, met Bob Bowman, Matt Grievers, who swam for the team down south, but he was a U.S. Olympian. But love to see the Olympic sports thriving at ASU. Men's team they were national champions back in 2024, Bob Bowman's final year before he departed for Texas. It's great to see that winning legacy, especially having Leon Marchand, who dominated the 2024 Paris Olympics, coming from ASU, Ilya Karoun for Team Canada. You love to see a lot of these international names, a lot of these guys who are spreading Sun Devil spirit everywhere, showing everybody that Tempe is a premier destination, not just for traditional American sports, but for international competition. So love to see that the swim teams are dominating and thriving, especially after losing somebody as talented as Bob Bowman in coaching. Love to see that he was able to pass the torch to somebody who can keep the winning going, and especially bringing in some big recruits now that you've seen guys like Karoun and Marchand do what they do here in Tempe.
It's yeah, you hit it exactly right on the head, and it doesn't help that Tempe is by and large a warm place to spend the winter. Aside from today, I won't go too much into how cold it got today, but I did resolve to give it a week before complaining about the cold. I made it a week, so yes, it was cold, folks, but doesn't help that the climate is very welcoming to those who typically would train in the northern half of the country. Big 12 West Championships hosted from Mona Plummer January 16th and 17th before both the men's and women's teams go down to Tucson for the final dual meet of the season at Arizona on February 6th. Following that, Big 12 Championships will be taking place from February 24th to February 28th. So down to the crunch time for men's and women's swimming for placement in the postseason. All right, guys. Any last minute topics before we sign off here?
I think we've hit them all.
Well, for Austin Bundy, for Andrew Hazlett, I'm Tom Harden. thanks again for listening, and as always, give them Hell Devils.